when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitles them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. This is the opening paragraph of the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776. Notice in the opening paragraph, nature's God is alluded to. The Declaration of Independence should be understood as a prayer declaring our dependence on God and our independence from Great Britain. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Self-evident truths are obvious truths. They're in the nature of things. They should be so obvious for the person of common sense that he does not even have to hear a rational argument substantiating the truths. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equally, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Of course, when the Declaration says all men are created equal, they're not equal in talents, they're not equal in abilities, all men do not even have equal opportunities. All men are created equal means that all men are to be treated equally under the law. Many of our founding fathers had come over from Great Britain, where there was an aristocracy. And much of Europe at that time had an aristocracy, certain privileged classes. But there were to be no privileged classes in America when it came to being how they were treated under the law. All men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Unalienable rights are rights that cannot be sold or transferred because they are bestowed by God. They are birthrights. They are natural rights. They cannot be taken away nor bestowed by human governments. Rarely do we hear our politicians speaking of unalienable rights today. They speak of civil rights. Civil rights are rights granted by civil authority, civil governments. Natural rights are rights that we inherit at birth. If we look to the government as the one who bestows our rights, that same government that grants a certain right can later take away that right. But unalienable rights are rights that cannot or should not be taken away, nor are they bestowed by any human government. That amongst these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Of course, the most basic of all human rights would be the right to life. Pursuit of happiness. It's no guarantee that we'll have happiness, but we are to have the right to pursue happiness. John Locke spoke of life, liberty, and property. We need to be able to enjoy the fruit of our own labor. Our property does not belong to the state. It belongs to the individual. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That when any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. and to institute a new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such forms as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under natural despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of their intentions. This is the third reference to God in the Declaration of Independence, describing him as the Supreme Judge. Do, in the name and by authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these United States colonies are, and of right, ought to be free and independent states, that they absolve from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved. That, as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliance, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, the fourth reference to God, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Let all good Americans, let all patriots on this July 4th, 2009, pledge our lives, our fortunes, our sacred honor to freedom, to independence from tyranny and despotism,